All right, so I came across this video of Young Don who's saying that 99% of Christian YouTube is trash. Now, if you don't know who Young Don is in his history, basically he was an animator who, blew up and then ended up giving his life to Christ and now went fully Christian. Now he's fully Christian. What he says in this video is actually really interesting, and that's why I wanted to kind of give my input on this. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video.
The only thing that matters is that we fear God and keep his commandments. That's Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13. That's the whole enchilada. That's all there really is to it. All there really is to this walk.
Yo, bro,
when you get down to the brat.
What's up with this man and this cowboy hat and this deep voice he putting on? Like, I know that's not how he talk, bro. That is not how he talk. He doing that straight for the yo, bro. He does not talk like that. But he did that the first 3 seconds. Yeah, he's spitting facts, bro. But like, bro, I'm gonna talk like that, bro.
And that's why 99% of Christian content is complete garbage. I remember watching a YouTube video from a popular Christian YouTube channel not long after becoming a Christian. And I remember after watching that video thinking to myself, that didn't really do anything for me. Maybe there was an entertaining opinion, some interesting information. But after watching that video, did I feel any more equipped to be more like Jesus, more like Moses, more like Abraham, King David? No.
You see, I'd say some of the content we watch doesn't always have to bring us closer to God. Because there are times where we want to chill out and just, you know what I'm saying, kick our feet up and relax sometimes. And some Christian content, you know what I'm saying, that's just entertaining, could really be good for us in those type of moments. So I think he does speak on that later on in the video. But if it's not bringing us away from God, even if it's bringing us a little bit closer to God and keeping our mind on Jesus, then I feel like that type of content can be good. So, yeah.
Most of the content that makes up Christian YouTube. However, there are some kinds of Christian content that are good and profitable. And I'm going to list the various kinds and categories going from worst to best. And my hope is that by watching this video, Christians will be able to better discern whether or not the kinds of videos they are watching are profitable or detrimental to the Christian walk. The first and worst category, which is also the most popular form of Christian content, is what I like to call Christian flavored entertainment. It's little to no more profitable or edifying than worldly entertainment. In fact, a lot of the times, the subject of these videos are about worldly things and people, celebrities, drama, politics, current events, drama between Christian YouTubers. The only difference between these videos and the kind of videos from guys like Destiny or Sneeko or Abba and Preach is that the videos are censored and the guy making the video is probably going to say the word Jesus and Christian a few times, maybe even drop a Bible verse, at some point. This is the most fleshly, the most popular, the least edifying, and the least profitable of all the Christian content on YouTube. Sometimes it even goes so far as to become wicked, because in the name of reacting to some worldly thing, so that...
You see, with that, I agree with him on that. Some of the Christian flavored content can be a little bit too secular, and you got to just be able to analyze, discern which type of content you should be watching, because Christian entertainment content can actually keep you from watching worldly content. Like I said in the beginning of the video, there's times where we just want to relax and just watch some entertaining content. And this type of content can be perfect for that moment because it's not causing you to stumble. Unless it is causing you to stumble, then you should turn it off. But it's not causing you to stumble, and it's keeping your mind kind of on Christ. And so it's better than the worldly content. But it's not, the purpose of it is not to just get you closer to Christ. It's actually just to, keep your mind off the worldly things, if that makes sense.
You can offer a Christian perspective, you end up putting some vile or vulgar image before the eyes of the brethren, which contradicts Psalm 101 verse 3, which says, I will set nothing wicked before my eyes. I hate the work of those who fall away. It shall not cling to me. And this kind of content has surely caused people to stumble. And look, I used to be one of these kinds of Christian creators.
If you watched my first or second video on are these YouTubers keeping you away from Christ, I actually brought up the same verse, saying that you shouldn't want to look at things that are wicked that are causing people to stumble. So if a Christian is reacting or doing things that might cause people to stumble, then yes, I'd say stay away from that type of content. And it could be demonic.
Oh, Lil Nas X is being gay again, mocking Jesus. Let's talk about that. It's a joke, really. It's not real ministry.
But at the same time, I don't think their purpose is to minister to those people in that time. The purpose is to entertain during those type of videos, because we do need more entertaining Christians, because there are times where we would just want to sit back and relax and watch some Christian entertainment or some type of entertainment. And instead of watching Netflix or things that are worldly, we can go ahead and watch our Christian entertainers. So that's why we do need some Christian entertainers, but Christian entertainers that are not going to cause you to fall and that can actually keep your mind on Christ. So, yeah.
Worldly YouTuber, with a bunch of subscribers, and this was my way of transitioning, trying to go in a more righteous direction. But after a little over a year of being a Christian, I've had to grow out of that kind of content. Yeah, no, it's a joke, for real. You'd get far more out of reading Matthew chapter 5 through 7, which would only take you about 15, 20, 25 minutes than you would from watching 100 hours of that kind of content. Also, I think that if you're being exposed to worldly things through this supposed Christian content, it's just as bad for you spiritually as if you were watching that worldly content. I think it's a way for the evil in your flesh to trick you into watching worldly content by telling you that it's coming through a Christian filter. It's the worst kind of Christian content, truly. Bottom tier. One tier up from that would be the kind of videos that I like to call fun facts about Christianity. This content is also, for the most part, completely useless. It's just a distraction. It offers no actionable information. It in no way will make you a better Christian or help you to resist Satan, overcome sin, be more loving to your fellow man. It's literally just a way to kill time, and learn a bunch of useless Jeopardy-like information about Christian related things. That said, look, sometimes you want to kill some time, right? Sometimes you want to distract yourself and just watch something entertaining, kick up your feet, relax. And that's exactly what this kind of content is good for, right? It's not wicked, and it's about Christian related things. So at least in some way it's keeping your mind on Christian related things, and that's a positive, right? I will say though, there is still something spiritually negative about this kind of content as well. And I think it's that the viewer can be fooled into believing that they are actually practicing Christianity by consuming content about Christian related things.
You see, that's where I was like, that's kind of a stretch. But there are some Christians that will believe that you know what I'm saying, they think that that's going to help them, that they should rather do that than read the Bible. Just like watching The Chosen, people rather watch Chosen than read the Bible, but that's their fault. And people need to understand that they need to study to show their self-approved. Like he said, this in the first Christian entertainment, the fun facts about Christian and Christian entertainment are kind of about the same, like spiritually, I should say. They're not to, edify you or not edify you too much, but just to kill time and stuff like that. So that's why it's important to have those type of entertainers. So I'm gonna stop talking like him, bro. Like
Being
what?
a Christian is not about being interested in Christian things. It's about doing the right thing, practicing righteousness, not sinning willfully, carrying out the commands of Jesus, resisting Satan. It's like the guy who spends all his time watching basketball and basketball commentary videos. But then when he finally gets on the court, every shot is an air ball. He's out of breath and he's tripping over his own 2 feet. The next tier up from
That was
that
good, bro. That was
would
good.
be videos about theological concepts and ideas. We're talking teachings, discussions, and debates about things like the Trinity, Calvinism, Arminianism, baptism, sacraments, free will, the atonement, grace, works, the law, and everything like that. Now, this kind of information is important and can actually be very useful, especially for people like me who really like to understand how things work. I like taking
Cliff, man. I be watching him all the time. There's another dude on TikTok I be watching all the time. Hey, I forgot his name, bro. Brooks. I think his name's Brooks. Yeah, bro. Hey, them be helping me, bro. They be helping me understand Christianity more and stuff like that, bro. So yeah, them debates, they be good, but I'll never debate. I'm not the type to debate with nobody, bro. You can see, like, I don't go head to, it's like, it feels like a waste of time to me, although it could educate some other people. But like, bro, in the Bible it literally says you can't understand the Bible without the Holy Spirit, and some people are literally spiritually blind. So there's no point of arguing, going back with people I know that are not going to repent and turn to God. So I'll pray for them, of course. I'll love them still, but like, bro, you're not gonna go anywhere. They just want to argue, bro. So
things apart, putting them back together. And these concepts are the moving parts that make up the structure of this religion that we call Christianity. So the more you understand these concepts and why they are true and not true, the better you can understand how Christianity works from a more conceptual level. Now, this kind of knowledge is useful because by understanding how Christianity works, you can make better sense of the world around you, the nature of God, and why it makes sense to be a Christian. For instance, right, let's say you're a Calvinist, you're Reformed. The way you understand God or God's nature is very different from the way that you would understand it as an Arminian. Calvinists, for instance, believe that God controls and determines everything that happens, and he is working all things for the good of those who love him as he sees fit. So when a man commits an evil act and murders a child, for instance, the Calvinists will say, well, God allowed that to happen. And even though it was a wicked thing, it was his will, and he allowed it to happen for the sake of accomplishing a greater purpose that is beyond our understanding. An Arminian, on the other hand, would have to say that God could have stopped the murder, but chose not to, as to respect that criminal's free will, and so just stood by and watched an innocent child get murdered for no real reason. It didn't do anything to accomplish his will or his greater plans, but simply just because he didn't feel like it, he didn't intervene. You can probably tell I'm being a little facetious, right? The Arminian position is ridiculous to me because we see God hardening hearts and stopping people from sinning in the Bible. So there is no rule that God can't intervene whenever he wants. So if he doesn't, the Arminian must think it's because he simply didn't feel like it. But with that said, I think I also just revealed the negative side of this kind of knowledge. As Paul says in 1 Corinthians chapter 8, knowledge puffs up, but love builds up. Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 18 also says, for in much wisdom is much vexation, and he who increases in knowledge increases in sorrow. Some of the most miserable people in Christian culture are the people who spend all their time arguing and bickering and debating people over these kinds of concepts, which in all reality won't make much of a difference in regards to how many treasures you store up in heaven or help you to follow the instructions of Jesus.
souls, man. To save souls. Man, don't argue with people, man. Don't debate. You know what I'm saying? If people hate on you, they hated Jesus first, bro. Just don't debate. man, it's like, it's simple. Just plant the seed. That's what we're here for. Now, if you're called to debate, if you feel like you got a debating calling, go ahead, man. But like debate, like bro, if debating makes you mad or stressed or more anxious, bro, don't debate with people, especially if it's not helping anybody. Just a prideful debate, don't do it. If you're gonna debate to educate people.
Because when Jesus says in Matthew chapter 5, for instance, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, so that you may be sons of your Father who is in heaven, it doesn't matter if you're a Calvinist or an Arminian. All that matters is that you pray for your enemy. And when Jesus says also in Matthew chapter 6, but if you do not forgive others their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. It won't matter whether you're a Trinitarian, oneness, or anything in between. If you have unforgiveness in your heart, you will be tossed into the lake of fire. As long as you believe that Jesus is the Christ, you have been born of God. And the evidence that you have truly been born of God is that you practice righteousness. So that's all that really matters. So to close this point, yes, I would say this kind of content is useful and profitable, but only to the degree that it helps you to better obey God, follow Christ, and serve him in faith. Also, you should be wary. This kind of content also makes you susceptible to studying Christianity instead of practicing Christianity.
Yeah.
So please keep that in mind as well. Finally, we have the most profitable and highest quality type of spiritual content on Christian YouTube, right? And that is the content which directly helps you to walk in righteousness and to grow in spiritual power. This is by far the least popular type of content in the Christian.
And it's really underrated, bro, because I see a lot of YouTubers that have some entertaining content that have low views and like low likes. I'm like, yo, this shit blew up, yo. Casting out demons out of people, words of knowledge. I'm like, hold on. Why don't this got more views? I'm like, dang, bro. Yeah, man.
In space, because only people who are truly dedicated to the faith are seeking out this kind of content. They want to know how to stop sinning willfully. They want to know how to better overcome temptations. They want to know how they can better please God, how to draw closer to him, how to operate within the spiritual gifts. They want to know how to get unclean spirits out of their flesh, how to be a godly man, husband, father, employee, employer, friend, brother. And the videos that tell you how to do these things are by far the best kinds of videos to watch on YouTube, because you walk away from every video with something to do, some instruction that you can act upon that will immediately have a positive impact on your life spiritually. You know, this kind of content will usually come in the form of a sermon, but can also come in the form of a typical, edited, dedicated video. The main thing that I think you should ask is this man, this preacher, this content, giving me some kind of information that will guide me or encourage me to be more righteous, to be a better person, to be a better Christian? Now, there's one more category of content, and let's call this one an honorable mention. It's a bit of a wild card, and that would be content about prophecies and conspiracies and just anything obscure, right? We're talking about videos that cover the end of days, flat earth, the Nephilim, aliens, the 9/11, MK Ultra, alternate history timelines, ancient world technologies, chemtrails, the spirit realm, mud flood, Tartaria, the millennial kingdom of Christ, and all videos like this. And this kind of content is interesting, right? There are people who consume this content and wake up spiritually and come to believe in God and Jesus for the first time. I myself have been encouraged spiritually by learning about some of these things, because it helps me to see ways in which the world isn't what it often professes to be. And it can help a person to believe more in the supernatural, thus strengthening their faith and causing them to feel more confident about trusting in the power and the promises of God. That said, this kind of content is a double-edged sword. Much of it is speculation. A good amount of it might be nonsense. And even for the stuff that is true, and there are some pretty wild conspiracies that I think could be true. Even for that stuff, there comes a point where obsessing over these ideas becomes a distraction from focusing on righteousness and the person of Jesus Christ. And so this kind of content, I would say, ranges from completely unprofitable to very profitable, depending on the topic and where you are spiritually. I believe it's fine to be consumed in moderation and should always be taken with a humble spirit and a grain of salt. Because as Paul says in 1 Corinthians, if anyone thinks they know anything, he knows nothing yet as he ought to know it. With that, I hope this video has blessed you. And I'm interested to see your opinions in the comment section. If you feel as if I left out any other kinds of Christian content, any other categories, go ahead and...
I mean, he really touched on everything. He really touched on every single type of Christian content. But I feel like it's really all about balance. Young Don is real uptight. Like, if he would watch this video, you'd probably tell me to cut off my dreads, that I look feminine or whatever he says. You know what I'm saying? But he did make some good points. If you are weak spiritually and you think that watching that type of Christian entertainment content is getting you closer to Christ, it's not. You got to really seek for yourself. You got to study to show yourself approved and continue to get closer to Christ. But watching that Christian entertainment might not be bad because it's keeping your mind on Christ while also keeping you entertained. And instead of watching that worldly content, then the Christian entertainment content can be just as good. It's kind of like secular music and like Christian rap, because secular music has a bunch of nonsense, a bunch of, say lyrics that are keeping you away from Christ. But then when you get Christian rap, it's the same vibe, same, flow, but it's speaking life into you. So my whole take on this is that you just got to learn how to balance, bro. If you are struggling spiritually, then you probably need to take a break from Christian YouTube in the first place and just spend a lot more time with God. But if you are like right with Christ and you're living for Christ, you're on fire for Christ, and you can watch the Christian entertainment without it really affecting you, then I say just go ahead, especially if you're just relaxing and chilling. So shout out to Don for the video, and I appreciate y'all for watching. But yeah, if you did like this video and you want to see more videos like this, hit that like button and subscribe. I got plenty more content coming this week. I did miss out on some posts last week, and that's because I was just preparing for this week. So yeah, appreciate y'all for watching though, and I'll see y'all on the next one. So stay blessed.